Okay, first I should say, being at IIT makes it easy in some ways to transition online. As you know, right, our campus, I'm on campus. I stay on campus, and of course, my office is on campus. And in fact, I was doing most of my teaching from the office, as perhaps most of you know. So given that we have, rather good internet access, and we also have good support from our administration. For example, I needed to get an iPad before I started teaching calculus, and for those things IIT provides financial and other support. So that's in that sense, I think IIT goes out of its way to make it as easy as possible for us to teach in general, and in particular when we transition to the online mode, it was not too difficult. All of us had a little bit of experience because, as you know, the pandemic struck in March, and we had to finish our last 2 or 3 weeks of classes online. So we had some, that was kind of I gave 2 or 3 recorded lectures at that time, so I got some feel for what it would involve. Of course, that was a small class, only 30 people. Once I was faced with 1300 or 1300 by 2, that was of course quite a difficult, quite a different proposition. So for me, the most challenging thing actually, lecturing is not hard, because whether you're lecturing to 20 or 1000, you don't know, right? I mean, it's just a Zoom call. Who's at the other end is not something you really take into account, because you can only see 6 names on the side panel. So the hard part is not the lecturing, right? I think the hard part is more the organizing, right? You have to you are divided into whatever, a huge number of batches, and even harder than actually dividing you into tutorial batches was doing the proctoring online, etc. Those were new things. I had never done those things before. And making the arrangements and organizing things, those were the hard things to do. For example, I realized only about a week before classes, or maybe 2 weeks before classes, that our Microsoft Teams platform and the other platform couldn't take more than 300 people, whereas my class was obviously going to be bigger. But again, the institute made it possible with a large Zoom account for large classes and so on. But it was still a learning curve, right? I mean, there were many problems you didn't anticipate before, or you realized only at the point of teaching that it was going to happen. That was one, and the other thing, the hard part for me was conducting, exams on SAFE. I had to, of course, learn how to use the platform. But on the whole, it wasn't too difficult, I would say. I had a lot of help from many of my colleagues also, especially for SAFE. It was created by Professor Bhaskaran Raman and Professor Kameshwari Chebrulu. And, I got a lot of support from him. I could just email him anytime and he would answer questions, for example. For him also, I think it was a work in progress, because, the platform itself changed over the semester. But there were some challenges. I would say they were not too hard. They were a little time intensive, especially at the start and during exam time. But otherwise, it's not that different from what we have to do, because conducting exams offline also, involves a similar set of challenges, not exactly the same. But we still have to put the students in, God knows, 25 different classrooms, and have 2 or 3 proctors, and we have to coordinate everything. But of course, internet outages, things like that, obviously make all of these things a little more challenging. But as I said, all said and done, I have to confess, I am sitting in a very privileged environment, so to get things done was not very difficult. I think it was harder on the students, and I certainly have a lot of sympathy for them. You said, right? I mean, I had used Google Meet before, but very rarely, maybe once or twice, kind of just for fun to see what it looked like. So certainly, learning how to use Zoom, learning how to mute all my students at the start of the class, unmute them, etc. Right? These are all small things, but they take time, right? They take perhaps less time for younger people like you. They take somewhat more time for people like me to adjust. But on the other, again, right? I mean, being where I am, we are constantly exposed to computers, various systems, right? And so in all of these things, as you must know, it's a matter of being willing to spend enough time.
Yes.
Right? It's a matter of patience. None of these things are hard, but it's a matter of patience. And so, certainly I learned how to, record and upload, for example, with various different platforms. I use OBS, I use other things, and then I tried to figure out where the file size was lowest. yeah, so those are all things I now know, and I will probably soon forget when I stop doing it, and I'll have to relearn again if I have to ever do it again. It's like I think we're all familiar with the online stuff, right? Suppose we don't use some particular program or platform for maybe a year, then often you forget. I mean, for me, if I don't use an account for a year, I forget the password, right?
Yes.
So things like that. But yeah, so I don't think my learning experience is very different from those of yours, perhaps. I mean, and having access, of course, to high quality internet is, of course, a great thing, and which makes one's life somewhat easier. Of course, even there are glitches. Even in IIT, of course, we've had our power cuts, we've had our problems, but I think by and large, it hasn't worked too bad. You will actually know better than me because I'm just doing the one course, you're doing so many, and you would have more experience about this. Right? I mean, meeting face to face is obviously something very different from conducting classes online. In fact, I don't even know how most of my students look, because even if they turn their videos on, you see maybe 10 people at most, right, on the side panel or something like that. So obviously, right, one doesn't get to know one's students at all. At most, so normally when I teach a class, let's say my class size is 300, of course I don't get to know all of the students, but partly because some of them don't come to class, right? But I would say by mid-sem I would know about 80 to 100 students. By the end sem I would know maybe a majority of I would say maybe 60 or 70% of my students. I would know them all by face, certainly, and I would know the names of many students, and especially those who participate in class, etc. Right? Here it's only a few students participate online, and so if you ask me, give me the names of 30 students from your first year, it's not clear I can do that right now. I have to think. So obviously it's the personal element, the interaction, which is missing, and which is actually most of the fun of teaching. So in that sense, nonetheless, I was happy that at least to a certain extent, students were able to participate in our live classes. I don't think it was hopeless. I would say I would routinely get questions from about 30 or 40 people. It's just that I often don't know what they look like. So, when you can't put a face to a voice, it becomes kind of difficult to keep such people in mind. But in a regular class, there is still more interaction. And of course, students are able to interact with each other, right? I mean, you can ask your neighbor if you missed something. Answer the question, I think when one teaches a very large class, one advantage is, even if, there are 300 students, but there will always be a minimum of 30 who are interested. Probably more, but a minimum of 30 who are willing always to engage and participate. It's one of the reasons I actually don't mind teaching large classes. See, if you teach a class of 25 and 23 are bored, then you're left with 2, right? And the atmosphere is different. But if you're 300, there are still always 50 people, you see. And 50 is a big number. And, when you see 50 people paying attention and asking questions, etc., right? That's, it allows you to keep your enthusiasm going. So a similar thing is true to a lesser extent, of course, in an online class. So even though, maybe there were 500 students and maybe only 100 were paying attention, but in an online class, I know even less about who's not paying attention, right? So I can always assume that the other 400 are. And in any event, I think you'll agree that there were a lot of questions during my classes in calculus. A lot of people interrupted and were asked questions, and I was quite happy about that. Of course, the unfortunate part is naturally, if somebody doesn't have a very good internet connection or has a power supply issues, then they may be reticent to come online, their audio is not working, etc. So in that sense, of course, it privileges people with better access. But on the other hand, that's true about so many things in our system, right? Internet access, or you have certain advantages, then of course you're in a position to take, to better use the resources. Memorable, I'm not sure any one incident stands out, but I was actually very happy. One nice thing is that of course, I do read the chat once in a while teaching, and a lot of students were kind enough to say some very nice things about me, which they may not have said in person, right? Nobody's going to get up in class and say such nice things, but on the chat, I guess they were more than happy to say some of those things, which is very pleasant and also encouraging. Because as you said, the online experience was new for me also. So it's good to get some positive feedback, and it was certainly very helpful. And even though directly it doesn't do anything, it makes you feel good, right? And that was nice. And so you don't feel like you're talking to a blank wall. You have the feeling that your students like you, or at least some of them like you, and the other ones are not saying anything. So that's a nice feeling. And it's not here I would have had that online, right? I mean, once in a while you might meet a student who says, "Oh, I liked your class" or something. But in the chat, many more people are willing to open up and write something like "Sir is cool" or something like that. Just a one line, but it's a nice feeling. Definitely for you guys, right? Whoever grown up texting, so to speak. Somebody like me, I still prefer to pick up the phone and call. But I know, of course, I have children your age more or less, and they are never separated from their phones. So, yeah. Teaching your class, the calculus class, it was actually very intense. I was spending there were days when I was spending 12 or 13 hours on the laptop because I was teaching 2 classes, right? And then there was all the posting of notes, and then sometimes you have to meet your TAs, and at the end of the day you have to go and make the question paper or something on SAFE. You have to then talk to your co-instructor. So there were days when I was spending 10-12 hours in front of the screen. Fortunately, not too many maybe. Right? So during the exam weeks, the mid-sem week or the quiz week and the final week, things were a little more difficult, and also monitoring things on SAFE, talking to the TAs, making sure that everybody got their answer sheets, right? A lot of it was just communication. So, in this course, more than, of course, you see the teaching online, but for me, preparing for class or delivering the lecture. First of all, I've taught this calculus, so it's easy for us to teach, right? It's basic, not mathematics, so I don't really have to prepare. Besides, I've done this course many times before, so I already had all the notes, etc. So that part was the easy part. The hard part is actually, coordinating and sending WhatsApp messages to 25, 30, 40 proctors, setting up Google Meet with various subsets of people. 3 TAs have some question. Those are the hard things, and that's where I was actually online. As I said, fortunately, it wasn't too bad. Though certainly by the end of January, I was ready to. I was glad the course was over. I think it's fair to say I'd never worked that hard on teaching before. But again, I was lucky. Normally I teach a full semester. When I teach the first year batch, I teach. So 10, I would have taught 109 and 111. In fact, there used to be only one course called 105 until the year before, and I have taken that course 2 or 3 times for the first year, and I prefer to just teach the whole course. Of course, I would assume that most of you, the thing that you miss most is being with your peers, right? You would have. Some of you are probably looking forward to leaving home and staying in a hostel for the first time. It's a new experience after all, right? And by all accounts, many of our students enjoy that a great deal, right? The whole point is to, have late night sessions till 3 in the morning with your friends, go for chai, roam around. It's a new sense of freedom. And unfortunately, you do not have that yet. Hope maybe, one can still be optimistic, maybe in next semester, maybe in 6 months, I don't know. But from what I see, perhaps I would not have had too much difficulty coping. I mean, it would have been a little frustrating. I have one advantage over you, which is, I only have to give my lectures. I don't have to listen to anybody else. But I can easily believe that listening to, 4 or 5 lectures a day can be extremely tiring. When I try to listen to mathematics seminars and so on, beyond 2 or 3, I find it very difficult. So I can imagine it must be very hard for you also. Not easy to focus. On the other hand, you're a lot younger, so I assume you can adapt more easily. And you have all been online for, since somewhat younger age already, I suppose, for 6 months before, and even otherwise you're all on Instagram and Facebook, etc., which I am not. And so, if I were your age, perhaps it may, I don't know. You should tell me how bad is it. I have no idea. I suppose it must depend, on how good your internet is on that day. It can be very frustrating if you lose connectivity and things like that. I can certainly remember that 1 or 2 days when our internet was not so great. Yeah, I mean, of course, it can be very frustrating. again, I have to say, we have a life of privilege here in the sense that IIT has a lot of space. So, I'm still able to go for instance, even last year when when things movement was more restricted, we could still go inside campus. We could go for a walk and so on without too much difficulty, and we have some amount of open space. And in that sense, again, it is a privilege to be on this campus, and I hope you can share in that privilege also in a few months to come. Stay in the same place for many years, you don't realize how pleasant things are around you and something that you forget. So, of course, there is one part of the campus which is quite unique, which is, when you have this little path that goes to the shed in the middle of Powai Lake. Vivek may have seen it. I don't want to give the impression that I work so hard that I can't do anything else. Right? I think like most people today, and especially since we have been stuck at home a lot, I'm online, surfing, watching videos. I'm happy to watch cricket, especially Test cricket. Happy to watch tennis also. So live sports, or even not live sports. So Olympics, I was very happy to watch some of the things. I do have some other interests, but I've actually over the years paid less and less attention to them because I don't know, no particular reason. When I was in college, I played a lot of chess, so I still follow chess tournaments sometimes online. Little before long, so, and occasionally you will find, if you come to campus, not very often, but every so often I get some josh and I'll start jogging. So, for a few months that will happen, and then I get lazy. So I read nowadays more and more online, but I also read regular physical books. It's still something I prefer to do. I think what else? I occasionally listen to classical music. I used to this. I don't know. Maybe that's for you to say rather than me. I'm not sure there's such an obvious thing. Only thing you can say is, when you record the lecture, I guess it's available to people afterwards and they can go back and look at it. I always wonder how many of my students actually did that. Personally, I can't, especially if I've already attended the class, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that because it's true. Nowadays in 1 or 2 maths lectures, when I miss the point and I have the recording, I have gone back just to see the, those 3 minutes or 5 minutes. So maybe it's useful. But otherwise, I don't see any real advantage. Perhaps for the students, the fact that you can just be in your room and turn it on, rather than having to get out of bed, and then come to the class. That may be an incentive. I don't know, right? I would say that especially, maybe, I'm not sure, but perhaps I had above average attendance, compared to an offline mode. I'm not sure. But then again, I don't know how many of you just switched the thing on and then went away, right? So at least in principle, maybe they were whatever. I'm not even sure about that, honestly, because I think by the end of my classes, I was recording only about 50% or slightly below. At the beginning, of course, I was getting 95%, but that's true in an offline class also. In the first, and especially the first 6 weeks, I would typically get 95%. Especially since I don't have an attendance policy. I found that if you tell students I don't have an attendance policy and I'm not going to take attendance, they're more than happy to, they're happier to attend than otherwise. Usually what happens is after the first mid-sem, which in our case would be the final exam, then attendance drops off a little. But as a general rule, the first semester attendance is not bad. It starts really going down in the second semester. I don't know if that happened this time or not. Maybe a little bit, but maybe because it's online and you're not all talking to each other, and you can't really bunk classes together, I suppose. and you might as well be in the class and just chat on the side in WhatsApp. So maybe notionally one gets more attendance. I don't know. I do. You certainly know who's bunking, who's not bunking, who's on actually paying attention and who's not. So